Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Welcome to the Disney Days Planning Podcast. This podcast is information about Walt Disney World, which is organized by topic. I'm your host, Alyssa Salvesen. Hello, welcome to the Disney Days Planning Podcast. I'm Alyssa, and today's episode is a resort overview. So if you're going to Walt Disney World, sure, you can stay off property, but you can stay on property as well. And today that's what I'm going to talk to you about, the different resort options on Walt Disney World property. Today is also a very special episode because it is our first edition of Grouchy Dad. I have my husband Paul here, who's been going to Disney probably every year since you were what, like 5?
3 or 4 or 5.
So for a long time, for over 30 years, he's been going to Disney World just about every year. And sometimes it's not always the most positive about it, but usually he's quite accurate. So we're gonna have Grouchy Dad segment today about tickets. Nope. Today we're gonna have a Grouchy Dad segment about the resorts. So again, Walt Disney World has tons to offer, including places to stay. You do not have to stay within Walt Disney World. There are hundreds of resorts over in the surrounding area that are a close trip to Disney World, but there are certain perks with staying on property, and it's something that just might interest you. So I'm just talking about the resorts that are within Walt Disney World. I'm not talking about ones that are outside of it here. Disney hotels offer incredible perks. They offer great proximity to the parks, immersive storytelling and theming, dining options, activities, and amenities. And also, they do include complimentary transportation to and from the parks and activities within Walt Disney World. They're included in the rooms. There's like a voice activated system called Hey Disney, and that features a lot of character fun. And there's a magical companion who can like get you extra towels and things like that. That's a little perk. Another perk about being on property, you can add an in-room celebration to your stay, and that could feature gifts or treats and decor. You could have like your room decorated if it was someone's birthday, for example. Staying on property opens you up to a lot of other perks too, like extended hours in the theme parks. All on property guests can enter a theme park 30 minutes before official opening. Sometimes the whole park opens and sometimes just parts of a park open. That will just vary based on what theme park. But also for deluxe resort guests on select nights, you can do extended hours in the evening for select parks on select nights. And I do think that is a huge benefit. Better than the early morning, I personally think. There's other perks as well. Sometimes you can get free admission to a water park or mini golf when you stay on property. A variety of other perks as well. There are package deals where you book your resort and your tickets at the same time. You're eligible to, when you do something like that, you're eligible to have a dining plan as well, which I'll have an episode about. I don't know much about it because I have annual passes, so I'm not eligible for a dining plan, so I've never actually done it, but I will make sure to research, and I actually have a friend who does it all the time. So I'll have her maybe come on and be a guest host for that episode. But when you stay on property, sometimes you're eligible for that as well. In addition, and I think this is quite a good perk, you can make all your dining reservations for the entire length of your stay on the first day that your window opens up. So all guests can make advanced dining reservations 60 days before the date that you want the reservation. But if you're staying on property, you can book all of your dining reservations on 60 days from your check-in date. So your whole stay, you can book dining reservations. And that's a really significant perk if you want to dine in some of the very hard to get reservations. If you want to dine at Cinderella's Royal Table, that reservation is very hard to get. Topolino's Terrace for breakfast, the character meal at the Riviera Resort, that's a really difficult dining reservation to acquire. So being able to book all of your reservations on the first day of check-in, that really is quite a big perk. The other perk would be if you choose to pay for the multi-pass service, which is that not skip the line, but wait in a shorter line option that Disney World has. If you choose to purchase that, you can book your advanced lightning lanes 7 days before the date versus 3 days. Everyone else can do 3 days. So again, that's going to help you if you want to get a hard to get reservation like Rise of the Resistance or Slinky Dog or Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. They're really hard to get. So having that extra those extra days to book them could be a huge benefit. Every on-property resort also offers complimentary transportation. I believe I said that already. There's complimentary transportation, and there are a variety of modes of transportation, and I'll talk about those below a little bit. But truly, that's one of the biggest perks that I see is that you can sometimes walk to a theme park in many cases. Walk, bus, boat, Skyliner, monorail. Those are the forms of transportation. There's different levels of resorts, and that's how I'm going to talk about them now. There's different levels of resorts, and they vary based on proximity to the park, size of room, size of resort, probably too, price, certainly, theming, and perks. So I'm going to break down this by talking about the different types of resort, the different ranking. So there's deluxe resorts, there's moderate resorts, and there's value resorts. And then there's a few other extras I'll talk about, but those are the three main ones. So I'm going to talk about that, and then I talk about it based on area. There are Magic Kingdom area resorts, there's Epcot area resorts, there's Disney Springs area resorts, and then there's Animal Kingdom area resorts. So I break it down in that way. Okay? All right, so without further ado, we're going to start with deluxe resorts. Deluxe resorts are the most expensive, but also are elegant, and they have the closest proximity to a park. In many of them, you can walk to different theme parks or a theme park, but they are the most expensive. Deluxe resort guests get extended evening hours on select nights. Right now, it's Magic Kingdom and Epcot, but maybe that will change. And that is going to stay in place for 2025 as well. I think this is a huge benefit. I really do. I find I get so much done in those evening hours. As adults, I guess the kids are asleep. I've linked the calendar in the show notes. So if you're planning a trip to Walt Disney World and want to take advantage of that, take a look. See what days are offered. The extended hours are offered in which parks, and plan your days accordingly. That's what I would do. So the deluxe resorts in the Magic Kingdom area are the Grand Floridian Resort and Spa, the Contemporary Resort, the Polynesian Village Resort, and Wilderness Lodge. In the Epcot area resorts, the deluxe resorts are Boardwalk Inn, Beach Club Resort, Yacht Club Resort, Swan, Dolphin, and Swan Reserve. And the Swan Reserve is quite close to Hollywood Studios. You can actually get to Hollywood Studios and Epcot are very close to one another. They're called Epcot area resorts, but know in your head that Hollywood Studios is quite close. There's a walking path to Hollywood Studios from those resorts. There's a walking path to Epcot, but you can also walk to Hollywood Studios from those resorts as well. The Swan, the Dolphin, and the Swan Reserve, they are on Disney property, but they're actually owned and operated under the Marriott brand. So if you are a Marriott member, you can actually use your Marriott points at the Swan, the Dolphin, and the Swan Reserve. Then in the Animal Kingdom area, there's only one deluxe resort there, and it's Animal Kingdom Lodge. Another potential perk of staying at a deluxe resort is access to club level concierge. So if you at the deluxe level resorts and also at the Coronado Springs Resort, which is a moderate, so that's also a good tip. There's an option to stay in a club level room. If you're in a club level room, you have access to the club level lounge and also the concierge. So the lounge offers a variety of complimentary daily refreshments. Each day there's a continental breakfast, evening wine and beer selections, desserts, and cordials. I know people who will stay club level because they think that they're saving money with meals. If they can eat breakfast there, that's kind of included in their room cost. It saves them like one or two meals. And then I think that's really nice, actually, the ability to go up and have a wine or beer. But this is offered at the deluxe resorts and Coronado Springs. So I mean, that's a moderate resort. So that's really awesome that a moderate has a club level. There's a concierge for club level guests as well, and they can book your dining reservations for you or help you with any park information. They can get you information on transportation, things like just their concierge service available to club level guests. There, it is expensive. You are certainly paying for this, but those are options. If you're staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, Coronado Springs. There's club level at the Contemporary, at Wilderness Lodge, at the Grand Floridian, and at the Polynesian. There's also club level at the Yacht Club, Beach Club, and Boardwalk Inn resorts. Next, we have moderate resorts. In the Magic Kingdom area, the moderate resort there are the cabins at Fort Wilderness. So there's Wilderness Lodge and then there's Fort Wilderness. They're all it's so like it's a very large plot of land, but part of it's Wilderness Lodge and part of it's Fort Wilderness. They are very closely connected. So the cabins at Fort Wilderness are a moderate. Moderate's just the next step down in price. In the Epcot area, Caribbean Beach Resort is a moderate. Animal Kingdom area, Coronado Springs. And the Disney Springs area, Port Orleans Riverside and Port Orleans French Quarter are moderates in the Disney Springs area. Next, we have value resorts, and value resorts are the least expensive. Oh, and value resorts and moderate resorts are mostly motel style. So you have the door on the exterior. There's like a walkway around the building, and then you enter your room from that walkway rather than inside the building, like other hotels. I don't think Coronado Springs is like that, though. I think that's the exception. So, value resorts are like that as well. The value in the Animal Kingdom area, we have All Star Sports, All Star Movies, and All Star Music. And then in the Wide World of Sports area, actually, there's Pop Century and Art of Animation. Next, we have campgrounds. In Fort Wilderness, there actually are campgrounds. You can go set up a tent and camp there, or you can rent an RV, or if you have an RV yourself, you can go and park your RV at the campground. Apparently, it is lovely in the wintertime, all decorated and just absolutely magical. I have regrettably never been to the campgrounds, but I hear wonderful things about it. Next, we also have DVC rentals and deluxe villas. So, DVC is Disney Vacation Club. So, the Disney Vacation Club is basically a timeshare for Disney. You can rent the DVC villas, the Vacation Club villas. Sometimes, they're in the best location as well, closest to the park, and villas, tend to be much larger. So there are villas at the Grand Floridian, villas and bungalows at the Polynesian. The Bay Lake Tower at the Contemporary are villas. There are Copper Creek villas at Wilderness Lodge. There are Boulder Ridge villas at Wilderness Lodge. There are cabins at Fort Wilderness, which are DVC. Animal Kingdom, both in the Jumbo House and at Kidani Village, two different sections of Animal Kingdom Lodge. They both have villas there that you can stay in. Then in the Epcot area, the Boardwalk Inn has villas, and so does Beach Club. The Riviera Resort are villas, and that's in the Epcot area. Saratoga Springs in Disney Springs area, there are villas there too. And Old Key West in the Disney Springs area, also deluxe villas. So those are your Disney owned and operated resorts for the most part, except for, like I said, Swan, Dolphin, and Swan Reserve. But then there's also gateway resorts or Friends of Disney resorts that offer many of the same perks as a Disney resort. Not all the same. These resorts that I'm about to list, with the exception of one of them, don't have the extended evening hours, but I do believe they also get early entry and you have transportation to these resorts as well. So these resorts, the first up is Shades of Green. Now, this resort is an armed forces recreation center and it's kind of by the Polynesian. It's in the Magic Kingdom area and it's for military families. I'm linking in the show notes the page to check out if you are eligible to stay at Shades of Green. It's very strict, but there are eligibility requirements, and so I've linked them in the show notes. It's treated like a deluxe resort in the minds of Disney. So you have the transportation is actually provided by Shades of Green, but again, it's all very much the same. They have their own bus, but you can do extended evening hours if you're staying there at Shades of Green. In the Disney Springs area, we have lots of friend resorts, gateway resorts. The Doubletree Suites by Hilton Orlando, the Drury Plaza Hotel, Orlando, Lake Buena Vista, Hilton Orlando, Buena Vista Palace, Hilton Orlando, Lake Buena Vista, the Holiday Inn Orlando, Renaissance Orlando Resort and Spa, Wyndham Garden Lake Buena Vista, and the Wyndham Lake Buena Vista. Those are your options in the Disney Springs area. In the Epcot area, you have Wyndham Grand Orlando Resort in Bonnet Creek. There's Flamingo Crossings Town Center, and that's like on the west side. There's a bunch of resorts there. Fairfield Inn by Marriott, Home 2 Suites by Hilton, Homewood Suites by Hilton, Residence Inn by Marriott, Spring Hill Suites by Marriott, Town Place Suites by Marriott. And those are all, again, this Flamingo Crossings Town Center. Then there's Bonnet Creek area, and that's Bonnet Creek's kind of near Disney Springs. The Bonnet Creek area, there's the JW Marriott Orlando Bonnet Creek. And that is a pet-friendly resort, FYI. Signia by Hilton Orlando Bonnet Creek and Waldorf Astoria Orlando is there as well. And then the Walt Disney World area, there's the Four Seasons Resort Orlando at Walt Disney World Resort. So those are the resort options available to you within Walt Disney World. There are many ways to book. You can go to the website. I've linked it below. That's how I always used to book my resort stays. But lately, I've been going through my friend who's a travel agent. If you go through a Disney travel agent, you pay no additional fees. Disney actually pays accredited travel agents for them to be booking vacations for guests. So it costs you no extra money. You would pay exactly the same to a travel agent than you would through the website. So I've linked my friend Carrie, who books all my stays for me. You could go through a third party. I'm always leery of that, but I have linked before. I talked about Undercover Tourist and Costco Travel. I know that people book through them. If you're in the military, again, look through your own military perks and go check out Shades of Green. They'll be able to help you a little better and you can stay there if you're in the military. Now, I want to talk to you because one big perk staying on property versus off, I would say the biggest perk, in my opinion, is the transportation, the complimentary transportation. So I'm going to talk about the different modes of transportation. Some are more effective than others. Some are, some are subject on weather. The Skyliner, if it's really stormy, the boats, if there's lightning, aren't going to run. So it's nice that they offer anything, but they are subject to change. For the most part, the complimentary transportation opens up 45 minutes prior to the Disney theme park opening and runs up to 1 hour after closing time. Buses run until 11 p.m. from Disney Springs. Okay, so let's talk about the different transportation options and what resorts you can get from where. So I believe I said before that different types of transportation are buses, monorail, Skyliner, boat, and there are walking paths. And there's also a minivan. You could also Uber or taxi and Lyft, but there's also minivans, and I'll talk about that later. They are not free, however. Buses, monorail, Skyliner, boat, and walking paths are all complimentary and free, included in your price, in your resort stay or for tickets or whatever. So buses, everywhere has a bus. You can get to any resort from a bus, any park, Disney Springs, and the bus system is the most expansive and goes all over Walt Disney World property. The monorail goes, there's a Magic Kingdom monorail loop, and then there's a monorail to Epcot as well. The resorts on the monorail loop, like with the stop on the monorail, are the Grand Floridian Resort, the Polynesian Resort, and the Contemporary Resort. Those are the three resorts on the monorail loop. You can transfer a ticket and transportation center and then take a different monorail over to Epcot, but there are no resorts on the Epcot, direct Epcot monorail, just the Magic Kingdom loop. Then there's the Skyliner. The Skyliner is like a ski lift. The Skyliner goes to Epcot and Hollywood Studios. And the resorts on the Skyliner route are Caribbean Beach, Riviera, Art of Animation, Pop Century, and then Beach Club, Yacht Club, and Boardwalk. You can walk to the Skyliner as well. And again, you can take the Skyliner to, if you're at Beach Club, Yacht Club, or Boardwalk Inn, you would take the Skyliner to Hollywood Studios. You could take the Skyliner to Hollywood Studios. That is the Skyliner to Epcot, where Beach Club on the Boardwalk area. But Caribbean Beach, Riviera, Art of Animation, Pop Century, you could take to both, to either Hollywood Studios or to Epcot. So those are the only resorts on those lines. You could take boats also to get around. So on the monorail area, that lake, you can take the boats as well. So the Polynesian, the Contemporary, the Grand Floridian, Wilderness Lodge, and Fort Wilderness. You can take boats. You can take them to Magic Kingdom. The Contemporary, I get confused because on one part of the website, it says it does have a boat taxi, water taxi, but where it says about water taxis, the Contemporary is not listed. So I'm confused. I feel like there is a dock there sometimes, but sometimes it doesn't work. I feel like I've heard you can take it to from Contemporary. Also, you could take to Wilderness Lodge, but I don't know. So I'm a little confused about the water access with the Contemporary. I'm not sure if it's operational at the current time. I know it has been in the past. I'm not sure if it is now. There's contradicting information on the Disney website. Again, in one place it says it has water taxis, in one place it does. It does not list it under boats. But I know for a fact the Polynesian, so you could take a boat from the Polynesian to Magic Kingdom. Same with the Grand Floridian. So yeah, Polynesian, Grand Floridian. Confused about the Contemporary. I'm getting mixed results on the Disney website. There's conflicting information. Wilderness Lodge and Fort Wilderness. You can all take boats to Magic Kingdom. Then, in addition, Beach Club, Yacht Club, the Boardwalk Inn, Swan, Dolphin, and Swan Reserve. It doesn't say that, but the Swan Reserve is right near there. You just could walk over to it. You can take boats from there to Hollywood Studios. Then you can also take boats to Disney Springs from Old Key West, Saratoga Springs Resort, and Port Orleans Resort. The two Port Orleans resorts, you can take boats to Disney Springs. Next, walking paths. There are walking paths, so you can walk from very easily and quickly from the Contemporary to Magic Kingdom. You can also walk from the Grand Floridian to Magic Kingdom. It's a little farther of a walk than the Contemporary one, but it is still possible and close. I've done it. And you can even walk from the Polynesian. You can walk from the Polynesian to the Grand Floridian and then from the Grand Floridian to Magic Kingdom. Now, when I was just there, if you listen to my trip report, that walkway was closed from the Polynesian to the Grand Floridian. I don't know, maybe it's open now since the tower opened. I'm unclear. But in general, it is possible to walk from the Polynesian to Magic Kingdom. And the other great walking area is the Epcot area. All those resorts, you would walk to Epcot. You wouldn't do any other mode of transportation other than walk to Epcot. It is right there from Beach Club, Boardwalk, and Yacht Club. You walk to Epcot. Swan, Dolphin, and Swan Reserve, you can walk to Epcot. And then also, from all of those, you can also walk to Hollywood Studios. Epcot and Hollywood Studios are very close to each other. You can actually also walk to Disney Springs from Saratoga Springs Resort and also those Disney Springs area friend of Disney resorts. The Doubletree, the Hilton, the Holiday Inn, the Wyndham, they're all close and there's a walking path to Disney Springs from those as well. Another form of transportation are minivans. Now, a minivan is operated by Lyft. It is a van and it is styled, it's decorated with Minnie Mouse's iconic polka dots. You will see them all over. They're very cute. It is owned and operated by Lyft. So in order to get a minivan, you have to be on Disney property, all within Walt Disney World. That's where they function. So unfortunately, you can't take a minivan from the airport to Walt Disney property because it only functions within Walt Disney World. They only function within Walt Disney World, but they're very, very cute. And again, it's privately funded though. You'd pay for it through your Lyft app, and it is not a complimentary service, but it is unique to Walt Disney World, which is why I'm mentioning it here. Let's see, you can seat 5 people, but it also has space for 2. It's an accessible van, so it also has spaces for 2 mobility devices. So a maximum capacity of 7. And there's 1 complimentary car seat in it as well, if you need. Those are your transportation options. Again, the walking path, boats, buses, Skyliner, and monorail are all free. Minivan is paid. So now our next part is our Grouchy Dad segment. So I have my husband Paul with me. Paul, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Paul. I'm Melissa's husband. I'm going to be popping in for a Grouchy Dad Q&A from time to time to give you my love and hate, honest thoughts about these Disney topics.
Okay. Paul, in general, what are your thoughts about Disney resorts?
In general, my thoughts on Disney resorts is I do view them positively. On the 42 square mile property, there's tons of hotels as you got into. Some are very good to great. Most are okay. Some are horrible. But I do think it is a valuable part of the overall Disney experience, especially if people only visiting a couple times in their life.
You said some are horrible. Which ones do you think are horrible?
So I think the motel style of the Disney hotel is like really, really offensive for what they charge. The rooms are too small. Not all have serious dining options. Like a lot of them can just have like a cafeteria where you like fill your tray and you pay. At the end, think of like a hospital. How you like get Jello and the food is the quality is about the same. And I said, how about half the hotels set up that way?
All right. Can you shed some insight about the different categories? I guess then you kind of said that about the value, but what about the other ones?
Yeah, sure. So I'll start with the value resorts. I think the price point of the value resorts is actually fair. The problem is Orlando has so many hotel options that are at the price point of value resorts or like legitimate hotels. So to stay in the value resorts, you will have to be wanting the Disney atmosphere. And it delivers. The rooms are clean. I don't mean to demean any of the day-to-day staff that's working at those properties. They do a great job. But you're not going to get anything extra. The rooms are very small. Your door opens right to the outside, and the properties are huge. So while on the website, you might see, oh, that's a pretty cool looking pool. It could be like a mile and a half from your room. Not to mention, there's probably not a restaurant. So if you want to eat like Jello and chicken parm sandwiches at 11 o'clock at night after the park, like that's probably your best option. Like the breakfast is like offensively bad in most of the value
Oh my God.
hotels.
Yeah.
Disney also, there's I don't know, maybe there's 24 hotels on property. You can put them into groups of like some that are very similar.
I guess the other perks about the value versus off property are the include complimentary
Yeah, so I'll take this
transportation.
on all levels at Disney Hotel. I view the Disney transportation to have absolutely no value whatsoever. The best way to get to a Disney park is to walk there. The
Yeah.
second best way is to Uber there, and the third best way is to drive there. Disney transportation does not even rank. It's not possible to take longer to get to a Disney park than on Disney transportation. You can tell your Uber to go there and back 3 times, and then we get there faster. That's not even close to an amenity.
See?
There's no way. That is no way a perk.
Fine. We understand you hate Disney transportation. What are your favorite resorts?
Sure. So my favorite section of resorts, as I mentioned, walkability is the best way to get to a Disney
Yeah.
park. are the Epcot area resorts, believe it or not. Even though Magic Kingdom is my favorite park, and even though the Grand Floridian is my favorite Disney hotel, and I'll get into that more, the Epcot area is my favorite area. It's really beautiful around there. You could walk to Epcot. You actually could walk to Hollywood Studios for a lot of the Epcot resorts. They're pretty much all deluxe. There's no lose any motel style over there.
No,
And they're
not
not
yet.
huge properties, so like they all have awesome pools, and you could actually utilize the pool like from your room as if you were at a nice resort. The atmosphere is great. A lot of the rooms have balconies, lots of great dining options in and out of the hotel.
Yeah.
Great place to stay.
I
And you
think
walk into the International Gateway part of Epcot, which is really nice too. Because Epcot is a hard park to get into, I think, from the parking lot, the main parking lot. But you get to walk to the International Gateway, which is like the circle of the countries. You walk in between England and France, so it's great. That's my favorite section of hotels. I like all those hotels. I don't think I'd give a bad review to any of those hotels. The Swan and Dolphin are a little older, but I know they're underwent a renovation. They're in the Marriott program, so that helps a lot of people. The Beach and Yacht Club are a little bit expensive, but I wouldn't say they're overpriced. They're just really, really nice places to stay. Same with the boardwalk. I think the boardwalk, one negative I'd say there is the property is like too small to the extreme in that there's not a whole lot going on because you're on the boardwalk itself. That's almost your hotel. So I actually put the Beach and Yacht Club a little bit above the boardwalk.
Yeah.
So maybe they're about the same price. But all those hotels are fantastic.
I agree with you. I also said in the episode, I think the walkability. I agree. I think walkability is key.
Yeah, and I'll
I
just
also think about the monorail resorts too. The monorail's not as bad as the bus for sure. And the monorail resorts, you can walk to Magic Kingdom too. The Polynesian's the farthest walk, but you can do it.
Yeah, the monorail resorts are in sort of in a class by themselves. I mean, they're the Disney flagship resorts for sure. Those are the hotels that even if you've never stayed on Disney property, you know they exist. A lot of the other properties, until you stay there, you don't know where they are. You don't know that Disney just the way it lays out. It's such a big property. There's parts even if you've been there 20 times that you haven't seen. But everyone's seen the Polynesian, the Grand Floridian, the Contemporary
Yeah.
because the monorail goes through. So I think that's part of it too. That those hotels they are very very high demand. And there's also another monorail resort that's not talked about enough is Wilderness Lodge. It's the newest, I believe, of all of those three. It was built later than all of them. It's a really great hotel. It's just like your mind's playing tricks on you. The fact that you can't see it, you think that it's much further than those
Yeah.
resorts.
Well, it's not a monorail resort. It's
Right.
a Magic Kingdom
Resort.
area.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can get the boat from there, the small resort boat from there. You could certainly Uber to TTC and get on the boat or
And they
the
have buses.
monorail, which is the fastest way to get to Magic Kingdom. To Uber to TTC and get on the monorail or the big boat. That is the fastest way. No other way is the fastest way.
Well, a minivan will take you up to Magic Kingdom.
Sure, but
Center.
that's a lift, but
Yeah,
same
it's
concept.
but I
Ride share,
spoke
ride
about it.
share. So
But minivan will get you closer than regular Uber or Lyft because it's affiliated with Disney.
I've never stayed at Wilderness Lodge. I would like to. I love the atmosphere there. The Grand Floridian, one of my favorite hotels, not just in Disney but in the world. I've stayed in some nice places, and as Grand Floridian, I think that it's awesome. I think that it's truly the Disney magic that you're looking for. If you want to stay on property, it doesn't mean everyone should stay there. It's expensive, and you should try to find the magic or the theme you're looking for. And if, like, for example, if you love The Little Mermaid, the Art of Animation is an awesome hotel.
Yeah.
And if you love movies, like All Star Movies is probably an awesome hotel for you. But like that's why you're staying there. It's not for as much for convenience as it is for the theming and the atmosphere, and you should try to find that atmosphere that works. But the Grand Floridian, that being said, I think it's just awesome. I love it in every aspect. The hotels are in such high demand. They were a little slow to renovate them. They were slow to renovate this one, but they're doing it now. It's a beautiful property. You can see Magic Kingdom from everywhere. You can walk to Magic Kingdom. You can monorail there. In non-peak season, I would say it's not even overpriced. It's probably $500 or $600 a night, maybe more than that. But for a short stay, that probably is worth that price, honestly.
And the dining options are incredible.
Dining options are great, from really 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 high end just to regular food is also good.
Yeah.
The Grand Floridian Cafe, their quick
They have a
service,
nice bar. The bar is really nice.
probably the best quick service on all the properties. Is there. The pools are nice. It's one of my favorite hotels.
Yeah, it's a beautiful hotel.
The Polynesian is just too expensive. It's beautiful. It's right up there with the Grand Floridian. I don't think if someone's favorite hotel, no money not being considered, if someone's favorite hotel was a hotel that wasn't the Polynesian or Grand Floridian, they'd have to have a really strong reason. I mean, I think those are the two best hotels, pretty much.
The Yachter.
On argument, could be, yeah.
Yachter Beach Club.
Yep. But the Polynesian is pricey. It's more than the Grand Floridian. I think their interior rooms are a little bit old. They have a new tower now. You can walk to TTC from there, so you can monorail to Epcot pretty easily. So you could say, of the Magic Kingdom resorts, that accessibility is actually the best.
You can get to tours. Actually, yeah, probably because you can get to two resorts fairly quickly.
Right. Aside from the Grand Floridian, the Contemporary is also a very popular Disney resort just because everyone drives through it on the monorail. They know it exists. I have respect for the history of it in that it was the first modular building ever in Florida. It's a classic building. It cannot be taken seriously in its current state as a deluxe hotel. It's literally if the DMV merged with the emergency room in Manhattan. That's what the lobby's like. It smells terrible. The buildings are old. The monorail is backed up there. It's not even a good monorail to be on. I'd rather monorail from TTC. You could walk to Magic Kingdom, but good luck getting anywhere else. It's just a total disaster, and they get so much publicity because every single person that goes to Magic Kingdom literally drives through it, and I think that keeps them going. But like, it's literally offensive the lack of upgrades at that hotel.
Oh, they just renovated. The rooms are renovated to like Incredibles theme. You have to stay there and try it before you can fairly assess it.
I've been in that building a dozen times.
You've never been in the rooms, you never stayed there.
No.
I think you're
I just wanted
slightly unfair.
It's very important to understand also if you don't have lots of DVC points, you have no say in where they're going to put you in these hotels. So if you're in a hotel at the Contemporary that has I would never stay in that main building anyway. But even if that's your goal to stay in the main building, there's no chance that you're going to be in there. There's 6 buildings there's other buildings they're going to put you in. Same with the value resorts. If you like the pool next to the 90s in Pop Century, you have no way to influence that you're going to be in that area. Same with Caribbean Beach, another hotel that I would never stay at. The pool is beautiful, but you could be 2 miles from it. So it's very, very important to consider.
It's true. Some of those resorts are really, really big, like Caribbean Beach. I think you're being slightly unfair. You've never stayed at the Contempt. I remember I stayed there when I was young, and it was the coolest thing ever. And I remember it. I like felt so lucky. I think you're being slightly unfair about it.
Through a 7-year-old's mind, it's probably fine.
Write in if you've ever stayed at the Contemporary and have a different opinion of it. Want to play a game?
Sure.
I want you to tell me what you would pay, real money, not points, like actual cash. How much money would you pay to stay at these resorts?
And this is me, someone that's been to the resorts, been to the.
Yeah,
I answer as myself.
as Grouchy Dad, yes.
Fine. How many nights do I stay there?
No, just one. Let's do per night.
Okay.
Per night. Okay.
I'll just say the base price. There's obviously taxes and tourism and stuff like that.
Oh my God, Paul. Yeah,
Yeah.
just a base.
Stay at one of those hotels and tell me.
Okay, Polynesian.
$450.
Okay. Grand Floridian.
$550.
Not more? I'd probably say $650. Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Stayed there once. That's where it's hard. I'm answering as me.
Animal
I've stayed there once,
Kingdom
so I've already experienced it.
Okay, well, let me say Animal Kingdom Lodge Safari View, not
Yeah.
just
So
any, like, on the-
that room is insanely expensive. If you really want that experience, do it once. You'll never do it again. Not that it's bad. There's no reason to do it again. So the fact that I've already done it, I would only pay $300.
Okay, Caribbean Beach.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that for free.
I want
Someone would have
to
to pay.
there.
Someone would have to pay me $150. And I would say that.
That pool looks awesome.
If someone paid me $150, I would stay there for one night. Cash.
What about Beach Club? And Beach Club has villas there too. Regular standard room. Standard
300.
300. Oh, that's a little low. What about Boardwalk
I never stayed there, so I wanted the experience. So 400.
and Yacht Club?
Same as Beach Club. 350.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say they're
I
comparable.
like Yacht Club better than Beach Club. It's more New England. The other one's more New Jersey. We live in New Jersey, so the Yacht Club is more novelty to me, but they're very similar.
Okay. What about All Star Sports?
I would say that for free. You wouldn't have to pay me to stay there, but I wouldn't pay.
Riviera Resort.
Oh, I never stay there. So that's where answering is me again. I never stay there. I'd want to stay there once, but I wasn't that impressed by the lobby. I'd say 300.
What about Coronado Springs?
I'd like to stay there. I would say 300 as well.
What about Coronado Springs club level?
So I can get a Danish in the room. Like if you stay club level in other hotels, it's nothing special. I'm sure. I never did it there, but $325.
Oh my God.
$5 bagel in the morning. It's only one night.
There's like wine and stuff.
I've been in a lounge at a Marriott. It's not that great.
What about Contemporary?
I want to say free. I would pay $100.
Okay. What about Saratoga Springs? You can walk to Disney Springs.
Yeah, I'd say that for $200.
You would.
The biggest rooms on the whole property, and you can walk to Disney Springs.
That's a fun fact. What about a Bonnet Creek Resort?
I would only use points. I wouldn't pay cash to stay there. There's no reason.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Any others that you want to comment on?
No, I don't think so. I really don't. I really need a reason to stay in a room that has the motel style. You have to walk from the outside. I really need a reason to stay there.
I know, that's a big turnoff.
And any hotel that I haven't stayed in, I'd like to try. So, the Coronado I never stayed at, and Riviera is obviously brand new. I never stayed there, so I'd pay a couple $100 to stay there.
Oh, Wilderness Lodge. What about Wilderness Lodge?
Yeah, I guess the same as the Polynesian. Just 'cause I want to stay there.
And then what about the
Well,
campground at Fort
I wouldn't say.
Worth?
You would actually you have to pay me hundreds of dollars to say.
Everything would have to be free and you'd have to get paid.
Yeah. Why don't you go through each perk and I'll give you my thoughts on the perks.
Yeah, so I find the transportation to be a benefit.
I find transportation to be no benefit at all, but I literally no benefit at all. Like not a little benefit, it's no benefit. However, walkability is a huge benefit. So if you love Epcot, if you can say don't tell you to walk to Epcot, amazing. It's invaluable.
I agree walkability would be number one, but I also think the monorail resorts, they have multiple ways to get to the park, and I think that's a plus. You could take a boat, you could walk, or you could take a monorail. There's three different modes
I'm not
of
disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing with
transportation.
that the Grand Floridian is not better than Pop Century, but I'm saying the advantage is its proximity, not
Yes.
necessarily the transportation.
Okay, fair. That's totally fair. I also find the benefit of I don't personally like the early morning hours. I don't like them to get in early. I think it's crowded and we're not early people and it's stressful to me to get the kids moving. So I don't find the half hour early morning to be beneficial, but I do find the extra magic hours at night, the extra evening hours. I find that to be a huge benefit. I would say at a deluxe versus not just for that.
So I think the early morning hour when it used to be like they'd pick one. It was like okay, Hollywood Studios.
And it was
It was
an
like an
hour.
hour and a half even. That was a real benefit.
That was a real
A half hour is no benefit. It's also very hard to get to the park early because
I
there's so
agree.
many steps to get in when it opens. So the morning is no benefit. What is the evening?
I
Start
think
late.
it's an hour.
I mean that's a minimal. It's an advantage, but it's minimal. I mean if you're gonna start late in the day, how much energy could you have? Or I've been on the rides all 1,000 times. Like it is what it is. I mean that's worth something, but not all.
I guess. I find it a huge advantage. I think that's way less crowded than the morning because it's just deluxe. And again, like you said, a lot of people are tired, so to take advantage of it. And it's only six left nights. It's not every day.
Right.
I don't know. I find that a huge benefit. The other benefit I really find is because I think maybe it's just because I'm the one doing the dining reservations, but I think and we've never taken advantage of this because we don't stay on property for multiple days. We don't stay like a week on property. We do 1 or 2 days where it doesn't make a difference. But if we were staying a whole week, you can book all your dining for the entire stay on the first day of your window when it opens up for advanced dining. So if you want to stay at really hard restaurants to get, like Topolino's Terrace Breakfast or Cinderella's Royal Table, they're really difficult reservations to get. So if you want to stay there, like that is a very big benefit that you can book your entire week of meals. You can get those really hard reservations. And that's why because people are doing that is why no one else can get them when their 60-day window opens up.
Yeah.
So I find that a benefit. What says you?
I don't have a, I don't. I'm not a fair representation of the population. I've eaten at every restaurant in Disney World that I've wanted to, so I guess that's an advantage. But like day to day, like you get a walk up reservation. You can make the reservation 3 4 days before. I mean, maybe with those two you mentioned, such a rarity, but everywhere else I've wanted to eat. We went to Brownsburg, which is the best restaurant in my opinion on the whole entire property. We went there with 2 hours notice, so I don't think that's that big of an advantage. I think it's an advantage. And again, you're going from Japan once in your life. Yeah, that's probably an advantage. Or you're going for the 39th time. I don't think that's that big of an advantage.
Yeah, I get what you're
Is there
saying.
another perk? Or is that seriously it?
No, I mean, then the lightning lane thing, but we don't really do that.
What is that?
So the lightning lane thing changes so much too. It's changed literally like 3 times in the last year. So it's hard to keep up with, but currently still a paid service and you can book 3 advanced
Yeah.
attractions
Yep.
before you get there. But on property guests can book a week in advance. Everyone else can only do 3 days in advance. So if you want to ride like Rise of the Resistance or like a really hard or I know you hate Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Not as much
but
as the Resistance. They really named 2 rides. I can't do.
You don't like Rise of the Resistance? That's an awesome
If
ride.
you want to go on a ride that never starts, it's great.
Well, Salvesen, you're so irritating. Well, if you want to ride like a ride that's really difficult to get on, like Rise of the Resistance or Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and especially to get like a fast pass for it, they're all going to be booked up.
Yeah, that's why to do service to us, you have to give that information out. I don't obviously. It's not. I'm not a fair representation. I've been on Rise of Resistance once. If I'd never gone on again for the rest of my, if I had a line pass for Rise of Resistance for the rest of my life, I think I'd go.
Aw, stop. You're such a Scrooge.
Uh,
All right. Well, thank you, Grouchy Dad, for your opinions and irritations. Hopefully, everyone's not completely irritated by that segment. And that is your resort overview. I have a lot of other episodes I need to get to, but I do think I will go much deeper into detail about these resorts, the dining that's available there, the theming of the resort, the types of rooms you can get, more about where they are located, things like that, their amenities. I think that those would be worthwhile episodes, but I do have a lot of other general things I need to get to first. So, not sure when I'm going to start breaking them down. I'm also thinking maybe the first thing I'll do is break it down by area. So, first we'll talk about like the monorail area resorts, and we'll talk about each of those resorts before I do full episodes on each resort. Actually, if you have an opinion for me, please, 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 please message me on Instagram, send me an email, communicate with me, let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, please, again, drop me an email, comment on Instagram, send me a direct message. I love to hear from you. And be sure to check the show notes for more information. See you next week. Thank you so much for listening to the Disney Days Planning Podcast. See you real soon.